Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to AnTalk, the weekly Comic-con-versation. So, last night I saw Ghost in the Shell, starring Scarlett Johansson, directed by Rupert Sanders. This is the live-action adaptation of the anime classic from 1995, which I have a video on that you should check out. And without getting into spoilers or at least plot details, in this futuristic society, heavily dependent on advanced technology, including cybernetic upgrades that most people in the world have from one extreme to another. Limbs, brain upgrades, organs, you name it. Scarlett Johansson's character, the Major, a woman with a fully cybernetic body with only her brain left of her former self. She is the first of her kind and is an officer for Section 9, a special task force police department, basically. While tracking down a cybernetic terrorist who's been hacking into people's minds through their cybernetic upgrades, the Major starts to question what it is that makes her human, being fully cybernetic. Now, to be completely honest, at first with this movie, I was very indecisive on how I felt about it. I am a big fan of the original anime film, and it's considered a classic, and obviously I was anxious to see how it compares. I was a little afraid because recent translations from anime to live action haven't been very good, and I was also afraid that the movie wouldn't focus on the overall messages and concepts from the original anime movie, and just try to be an action-filled sci-fi. And like I said, I really wasn't sure on how I felt at first. The more and more I think about it, the more I lean towards liking it. And to be honest, I don't think there's much that's straight up bad. And I think I do like it. And the director, Rupert Sanders, God bless him, I feel like he really did try to make this movie good and faithful to the anime. And I don't think it hit all the way, especially with getting that message across in the way that the anime did so well. But he also took some liberties, changed it enough to try and make it its own thing with a deep main character, and in more ways than not, I actually feel like he did respect the source material. Maybe where this movie falls short is if you're not going to go all the way with a direct adaptation, then maybe the movie could have been a little more ballsy in its own way. But first thing is visually. This movie looks amazing. The design of this major futuristic city looks beautiful, and the cinematography looks great. If you wanted to see the world of the anime Ghost in the Shell brought to life, and you didn't like this, I really don't know what you would have wanted. Some shots and sequences are directly from the anime, and seeing them created in live action was really awesome to see, whether you've seen the anime or not. I think this is where the movie is definitely the strongest. The backgrounds really try to capture the scale and the detail of the city, and it does a great job. I think this is proof that visually the right anime can be adapted into live action, especially when it's given the respect and understanding that the filmmakers did seem to have. I think Scarlett Johansson actually did a great job as the Major. A lot of people have a big problem with her playing this role. The Major from the anime is actually Japanese, so people really got upset when Scarlett Johansson was cast, saying it was whitewashing and so on and so forth. Well, everyone except people from Japan. But Johansson is the biggest name they could have attached to the role, and because it is her, it will bring a lot more attention to the movie and even the source material. I'm not saying that they were right or they were wrong, but at this point, it is what it is. It doesn't affect my opinion on the movie whatsoever, which I think is sad that this movie has so much going against it already just because of that. Especially because, like I said, Scarlett Johansson is really good in this role. She does a good job seeming robotic, and sometimes she seems flat, but in a good way, like she's supposed to. She's full cyborg and she acts like it. But at the same time, Johansson does add enough personality to make her character compelling. I wouldn't say she went full robot. And I bought her inner conflict about, is she human, is she not? And a big change from the anime was that they went into the Major's backstory and even took some liberties, and cinematically I thought this was a good choice, only making her a better, more layered character. I thought Pilu I really don't know how to say his name, I'm sorry. He played Bateau, and I thought he was pretty good. I thought his character was pretty on with the anime version, and I thought the actor made him one of the more entertaining characters in this movie. I also liked Aramaki, played by Takeshi Kitano. I actually think I might like this movie version more than the anime version. And his character is the only one in the movie that speaks only in Japanese, and I thought that was a nice touch. Along with the visuals, I thought the action scenes were also pretty well done, and that's in part because of the visuals. The movie really doesn't have that many action scenes, but neither did the anime. And those scenes are definitely in this film. Again, this is where the movie is the most true to the source material. A couple of the scenes are almost down to a T exact, and I thought it looked amazing. And I think whether you've seen the anime or not, the whole idea and concept and the way it's designed from the anime and live action, it should be very entertaining, and I think whether you've seen it or not, you'll like this. One issue I kind of had with the movie was at times it just seemed kind of boring and not very well paced. Now, I get why they did this. The anime takes its time and has slower moments, but that's when it's reflecting on the themes and questions it raises. But this movie did not focus on the overall message of the anime, making the movie seem slow and boring, because instead of having a very cerebral focus, it seems more boring and hollow. It's almost like it wanted to be like Blade Runner or the anime, but forgot about the real point. It seemed almost slow for no reason. And that is where the movie falls short. Like I said, the anime is a classic, and not just because it's a cool idea and very beautiful artistically, but like I said, it's very cerebral and has an overall message that deals with the questions of what is life, especially in a world where humanity and technology are so blended. Where is the line? What is the real difference between human and AI as far as being alive? Now, this movie does have that, don't get me wrong, and it is brought up and touched upon, but I feel like it's made more of the point for the Major's character and opposed to the point of the movie itself. It almost seems like it's going to be the point of the movie, and I do think this is kind of where the movie falls short. It's good for her character, and she's what the movie is about, but like it being slow and trying to take its time, it could have reflected more on the psychological aspect of everything. There are a few scenes that do this, and the movie really probably could have had more of that feel going on. About 2/3 of the way through, it changes. They change some things with the main antagonist, and with the addition of exploring the Major's backstory, make for a different ending. Where, like I said, the anime is more about the question it raises and doesn't really give a real answer for anything, including what's right or wrong. The live action has a definitive bad guy, and I get these changes for a narrative reason, and I'm up for making small changes and making this adaptation your own thing if you're the filmmaker. And I think they did pay a lot of respect to the source material and were very faithful. If they weren't going to take the main concept all the way, then they needed to do something more prominent than they did. And that's what keeps this movie from being great. But I do like the movie. I don't think it's necessarily bad by any stretch. It is faithful and a damn good attempt at recreating the original. It's visually stunning. I like Scarlett Johansson as the Major. I just don't think it's going to hit with people. It had the potential to be really good. It just couldn't quite hit on the points or take its time where it should have to make this movie more psychologically intriguing, and the liberties it took and changes it made just weren't prominent enough to make it its own great movie, with the exception of what they did to the Major's character and backstory. I think that was an improvement. I like this movie the more and more I think about it. I like it for what it is. I thought they did a good job being faithful. They did a good job bringing the source material to life. And for better or worse, I respect what they tried to do with it. This could have been a disaster, especially with all the controversy, but in my opinion, it wasn't. And I think this means there's still hope for future animated live action translations. Obviously, I compared it a lot to the original anime, but how could I not? And I realize a lot of this review has been kind of a comparison to the anime, but you have to understand that, like I said, I was very indecisive about how I felt, and a lot of it has to do with being so familiar to the anime. And honestly, to just look at it as a standalone movie, I had a little bit of trouble with, because it did try to replicate the original so much, but do its own thing, that it is really hard to break down without really comparing it to the anime thinks of this movie. So that does make me very curious to hear from someone who's not familiar with the 1995 anime. So please let me know in the comments below what you thought of the live action version of Ghost in the Shell. And if you want to know more or learn about the 1995 anime version, I have a video on that linked to the end of this video. You should check it out. This is AnTalk, the weekly comic conversation. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter at @It'sAnTalk. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and take care. Hey guys, did you like this video? If so, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more of my videos, click right here on this icon to become a subscriber. And if you are a subscriber, don't forget to ring that bell so you can stay updated with all my videos. And if you want to see another video just like this one, click right here. And as always, thanks for watching AnTalk, the weekly comic conversation.